All right, everybody. It's good morning for me and the roosters at the chicken farm. I hope y'all are doing good. We're doing pretty good out here. Been working in the garden. I can't you can't really see it, but there's a pH probe right there. I've been resetting the pH in the greenhouse. I did like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now. It's been a while. I did it to one row and then I did it to all of them because I was just noticing that it wasn't really affecting the plant's growth, the acidity of the coffee grinds, but is the is it was the like when the seedlings would germinate, it would cause them to be deformed, like they would be bent and crooked and weird shit that they just don't never do. And so, but that because it's a nitrogen source like fertilizer, but it's also acidic, and it's like your urine. The same principle. Your urine is the same way. It's highly fertile, but it's also extremely acidic. So unless you're putting it on blueberries, that's about the only thing that would tolerate it. And even then, it would have to be diluted and adjusted. But it's just the nitrogen source is all it is. It like fertilizer, urea in the urine, but or in the coffee ground, not urea, but the high nitrogen and acidity is what I'm trying to get at. But I've been adjusting that with limestone dust. You can get limestone in different ways. The finer the grind, the faster it's going to do the grunt work of the pH balance. If you get it like gritty, or like what they do for the oyster shells, they'll it's not pulverized, but it's the step before pulverized. In the bigger the chunk, the longer the calcium adjustment lasts. Is what I'm trying to get at. It won't be so dramatic in the beginning, and you'll feel like you're over putting it in, and you kind of are, because it's going to let it come out over 3-4 years. Is what I'm trying to get at. But oyster shells are better for the final correction of your pH than limestone dust. That's kind of too brutish, is what I'm trying to get at, to adjust your soil. But it's the first time I've really had to adjust the soil out here compared to like Arkansas. In Arkansas, that was my job. My wife, my ex-wife, I should say, my ex-wife, she would get up out of bed about 9, 10 o'clock, late, early. She was not an early riser unless she was forced, and if she was forced, she was ugly about it. So you just let her sleep. It's easier on everybody. And but let her get up whenever she wanted is what I'm trying to get at, instead of banging a pot. And, and she would not have survived at my house growing up. My mom would have fixed her ass real quick. Could I do that? No, she was already rude. Yeah, she wasn't into that kind of stuff. Um, and I'm just saying anything that my mom did to me to encourage my ass to get out of bed failed miserably when it came to my ex-wife. That's all I'm saying. I should have tried to probably thought more of my dad's tricks on my sisters, but I don't remember any of them working either. So it's just the way it is. Um, but she would pick the produce and can it, which she was extremely good at, and I would do all the grunt. I would plow the soil. I would put it in rows. And normally that happened in the least opportunistic moments in Arkansas, because they should call it Rockinsaw or Rainasaw, because that's really what it is. It's just fucking rain that falls on rocks. That's all Arkansas is. Down in the Delta, you got sand and rice and crap like that. But up in the hills where I'm from, you got ledge rock, rain, and rocks. That's about it. And woods. Uh, which is good. I mean, I'm a proud hillbilly guy. I love rain, rocks, and woods. I'm not real thrilled about the rain or the rocks in the wheelchair, but that is still my home, is what I'm trying to get at. But I do love Colorado. I love it. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, is what I'm trying to get at. I talked to a friend back home, and he said, like, when are you coming back? Da 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 da. Because I got stuff. And I said, no, that's not for me. And, and Yes, it's extremely, stupidly expensive to live out here. I wouldn't live any other place. That's like people that go to Europe. It's extremely, stupidly expensive to live in Europe. But if you live there, you wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Is just the reality of it. Colorado's the same way. Granted, if I was a sickly human being, if I was always sick and stayed sick, I probably wouldn't want to be here. I personally, they paralyze me. I don't really think they have like the answer when it comes to anything medical. Just that's all. It's the truth. I'm just being blunt. The reason I even brought that up is because I went back to the VA. I got a notice that said I needed to go see him, and I hadn't been in years. And and we had that same come to Jesus moment, me and the doctor. And it was like, for what would do you think that I would want to have the VA do anything, like a checkup or a visit or a I don't know. There's a name for what they wanted to do, a study or whatever. I'm not interested in any of that. Only because the last time that I went in, because for 40 years my legs were going weaker and number and weaker and number until I was finally fucking paralyzed after like 30 of those years is what I'm trying to get at. Um, and I went in and I could move my toes. I could move my leg. I just couldn't walk. That was the downfall. I couldn't walk. They did one biopsy. I'm going to say, let's just put a day out there like a Monday or Tuesday. They did another biopsy on a Thursday or Friday, towards the end of the week is what I'm trying to get at. The first biopsy went fine. They found that it was something in the spinal cord. They found that it was this or that. Whatever they found, I don't remember what it was. But it was leading them to believe that it was viral. The CDC not the VA, the CDC was leading them to be viral. That was like a false positive because years later I had no viral load, none, and you don't get over that. That's always there, is what I'm trying to get at. So that was a false positive on their part. Bad, that happens. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody has to be fucking perfect all the time because God knows I am not perfect all the time. And I understand that people fail at what they try really hard to do. But how to say that? But at the second biopsy, within seconds, because they don't like numb you, you're not put to sleep. You're laid on a gurney. One person lays on your legs so you can't move, like literally physically can't twitch, and then the other one does the actual procedure where they go in with the needle to do the biopsy. And within seconds of that event, I couldn't walk. I couldn't move my leg. It was like sticks in a jelly bag. It was utterly fucking paralyzed. And all they could say is, if you don't use it, you will lose it. And then when I tried to file or even to make any recourse of it, they said that I had HIV and AIDS and this, that, and another thing. Oh, they just really, utterly tried to destroy my character, my name, No, I don't have that. I would have been dead a long time ago. This is 13 years ago. I'm as healthy as a motherfucker. There's nothing frail. I do not bruise or dent or damage like fucking Trump and his STDs. Okay, that's just what they wanted to say because they want you to shut up. We will make it so bad that we will destroy your life. Well, asshole, let me get this out here. Cocksucker, okay? Listen, cunt, all the bad words is what I'm trying to get at. You have destroyed my life. Now the world needs to understand exactly how intolerantly demonistic you are. That's what I'm saying, y'all. And that's the whole thing. People don't even realize how evil that our government can be when they choose to be. There's a lot of people that don't make connections like at all. They believe that when this guy came out of a side room that another guy and a dog were looking into, so he had to be like right around the fucking corner. It's not like they didn't see him. It's not like he disappeared. The dog alerted on the door. The guy pulls the dog back. These aren't like normal procedures. Then the guy comes running out of the thing with a shotgun. The cop, he's coming down the hallway from out of a room and down the hallway. There's 3 cops standing against the side of the wall. There's another cop on this side of the room, on the far side of the room, facing the magnetometers, the metal detectors. He takes his revolver out, shoots the cop in the center, right dead fucking center in his chest. The guy falls down on the fucking wall. Can't hardly get back to the fucking room to get out of the way after he's been hit in the thing. And then says that a shotgun hit him. No, you dumbass people. If a shotgun would have hit a bulletproof vest, that's a 30-inch fucking barrel, not a 6-inch barrel. That bullet gets mass by how long it's in that compression chamber. The shotgun would have folded his flak jacket into the soup can, like goo that it made behind it. The cop would not have lived, is what I'm trying to get at. There would have been no chance that the cop would have lived had he been shot point blank with a shotgun in a bulletproof vest. Period. Not happening. That was a cop's revolver or a cop's sidearm. More than likely, an automatic, where it slides back and wastes a lot of the fuel to propel the automation of the weapon. Had it been a revolver, it would have done more damage, is what I'm trying to get at. That's just the laws of it. And for the reality, I was an armorer in the military. Among all the other jobs that I did, I actually took care of the armory. This is a subject that I understand. If you want to stop guns, okay, put a SIM chip in each one, just like a cell phone. No different. Doesn't even have to be a $1,200 Apple SIM chip. It can be a $200 Motorola SIM chip. They work the same. Actually, y'all, the SIM chip is nothing to do with the phone. I'm just saying that Motorola is a corporate grift. That's what I'm trying to get at. If Motorola, if Apple is a corporate grift. If Motorola can make a $300 phone, so can Apple. Apple's much bigger. Apple can do much better. They just choose not to. They choose to grift off of the stupidity of people that are willing to pay $1,200 for a fucking phone. And bless y'all's heart if you think that $1,200 phone makes you special, you just buy it 3 more. Get right on it. Go that direction. But please forgive everything I've said up until this point, is what I'm trying to get at. But that's the same thing. If you believe in God and you think that only your denomination, your pews are going to heaven, bless your heart. Bless it. For all the, this is every Church of Christ Church that's ever existed, and you think that your congregation is the 144,000 of the chosen. Well, there was a congregation in that same building last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, all the way until America didn't exist. And before that, it was a Anglo-Saxon church in England that hijacked religion for the same reason, because they didn't want to do the whole Judaism thing, okay? Everybody has seen what religion really is, and that's to control people. That's what it's for. And they've taken their mark. Even Trump is orange-faced antichrist as this man is. He's literally the physical embodiment of the 7 deadly sins. It's just the way people look at it, y'all. He's the hero. He's the Cheeto Jesus to 74 million people in America. And hey, I can say that he did some amazing things. He turned water into wine. I mean, like the sniveling wine, but still, it's wine, you know? Um, and if y'all really like this guy, hey, bless your heart, knock it out. I don't got anything against it. I'm just saying, you're being yanked, and you're not bright enough to understand that. That's what I'm saying. But it is our people coming like out of the ether faster, you know, like than falling out of a dump truck, rocks out of a dump truck. Yeah, they really are. So that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing, you know. But let's get off all this crap because it's not going to get better. And the war in Iran doesn't end until the Iranians say it end. And my guess, they're keeping their fucking uranium. They're going to build a bomb. That's what their intention was to begin with. You don't enrich, you don't enrich uranium into plutonium-based weapons fuel without a reason. There's no real reason for plutonium fuel. Making a fucking battery for a spacecraft, maybe. You only need a pound or two. You don't need enough to make a bomb. And that's for every fucking battery you're going to make in your lifetime, your whole country's lifetime. You just don't need that amount of material. So to say that they're not, it's like, why are you lying? I mean, everybody says it's a peaceful religion. It's a religion of truth and honesty and sincerity. Oh, my ass. There ain't one of them like that. It's all dark bullshit. It's dark, secret, pinky shakes and fucking left-handed handshakes and all kinds of crap, man. It has nothing to do with honesty or sincerity or peace and goodwill on earth. If you're not a member of this exact bunch over here, you're fucking fussing and fighting about that bunch over there. And if you ain't this bunch over here, you're telling shit about this guy over there. No, it's just hate-filled intolerance and division. That's all religion is, all the way across the board. I'm not saying that I don't, how to say that I don't believe in the stories. I'm not saying they're false. I'm not saying it's mysticism. I believe we've done that way too long. We had, like, truly smart people on earth, and religion burnt them at the stake. We had truly smart people on earth in the squared hat bunch that were the organizers, the other religion, the lab coat religion, ostracized these people for the way they thought because they didn't think like we did. That's the deal. It is, it I guess, even my own, for 40 years, when climate change first came out, the models were completely different. You just gotta go back and see some of these old climate models. They were laughably wrong. And even a high school kid picked up on that shit real quick. I was dogged mercilessly, I guess is the word you would call it. Without mercy, I was dogged for my views on how their modeling was wrong in the beginning. And I didn't think that it was a no thing. I just thought they were laughably incorrect in what the outcome was going to be. Because they didn't understand. Yes, they have, everything in their world is gravity. That's the only thing it can, gravity. It's more than that, y'all. It's more than atmospheric CO2. If you're going down the road in your car and your radiator overheats, it could be that you're driving through the desert. Okay? If you're not driving through the desert, then it's probably your radiator fluid. If it's not your radiator fluid, it could be the circulating pump. But it's more than likely the medium that they get the heat from the block into the wind. The wind passes through the radiator, cools the radiator, and keeps the system cool. It's the same thing. The CO2 in the atmosphere isn't the fucking problem. It's the petroleum scum in plastic, the microplastic band. And now this band is like a couple 100 feet deep. It was like 10, 30 feet deep when I was in high school. It was really small compared to what it is now. Now this band is like several 100 feet deep in areas. It's the problem. You can accept this or you can't. You can see it or you don't. But it's not the CO2. It's not the CO2 that's in the air. That's not the issue. This is a problem. Magno Hydrodynamic Drive, MHD. It's what I power all these spacecraft, space engine things that I do with AI. It's the same engine. That's exactly what the Earth is. It's just a big version of that. A low powered but big version. The core is roughly 6,000 degrees. Otherwise, it's spinning around on the inside. And that's what gives us our EMF on Earth, is that the spin. It works exactly the same, y'all. The Earth is one of these. That is what the Earth is. That is what it is. And it's just overheating. In space, I dealt with overheating in a void, in a vacuum, by spinning the reactors. If you looked at any of the schematics, by spinning the reactors with centrifugal force to force the heat outward to aluminum graphene radiators that are crude graphene covered. To put that in example, like copper, like aluminum can dissipate like 200 farad heat units. The copper can dissipate like 400, but it melts easier, and it can. There's a lot of problems with the copper. You can't just use it, is what I'm trying to say, not directly. But now crude copper coated aluminum graphene radiators that have been anodized in copper, which all this works, is what I'm trying to get at, where the fins are set, where it's not a continuous rim, it has segmented fins, and then spun. That's over 5,000 farad. That's jaw-droppingly different, is what I'm trying to get at. Has NASA gotten this far? No, they've not. But a lot of the stuff they don't even understand how to make yet. To pool the aluminum into the graphene into the aluminum, the graphene wants to stay up on top like a dust layer does on water. You can't get it to mix or emulsify into the aluminum. Well, yeah, you can, but they're in the weld pool, when you're printing this stuff, you would have to use ultrasonics to liquefy the well. Oh, we're making power now, y'all. Both of them kicked up. But you'd have to use ultrasonics to liquefy the graphene into the weld pool. There's ways around everything. But like I said, I'm just a hillbilly. I'm an uneducated hillbilly. I just have ways of thinking. So if you talk to somebody who's from the South and they sound just a little bit slow, that dude may be thinking about shit that you have not even come close to yet. That's all I'm saying. And I've always thought this way. This is nothing new. That had nothing to do with the truck wrecks. No great awakening, nothing like that. For 23 years of my marriage, is my children would ask me, wah, 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 when it would come to Star Trek or it would come to different movies, and I would go, blah, 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 and I would say, well, what they're saying on the movie is, in reality, it's this. In what they're saying here, in reality, it's that. Okay, and all my kids got the same story. And every time that I would try to explain to any of my children, not just any one, just all of them in general, is my ex-wife. Her favorite thing is she would huff, snort, roll her eyes, and go, "You couldn't possibly understand." Well, yeah, I can. You just don't have the ability to. When people say the other guy can't understand, it's not that they know anything about the other guy. They just know that they can't. Your best or your worst cynic is always going to be the stupidest fucker in the conversation. That's what I'm saying. Okay, guys, it's really long. I'm going to cut it here. Again, I hope you all having a great day. I'm sorry that everything is so expensive. I'm sorry that you're struggling. And I do feel it because that's where I'm at right now. I even had to ask the VA for wheelchair parts. It's just that bad. And I've avoided them for years, is what I'm trying to get at. But given the opportunity, I had to hit them up for wheelchair parts. But yeah, I'm sorry if you're struggling. It is not going to get better. That's the sad part. We might get a little bit of reprieve if we get another Democratic president, and if he's as good as Joe Biden. And I know a lot of y'all can't stand Joe Biden, okay, but he was a good president, and he did good for the country. Yes, things were expensive during Joe Biden, but it was not for the same reason that they're expensive now. When Biden was doing it, it was because we were prosperous and people were competing for the same resources, which drove up the price. Now, we're failing. We're fucking falling through the floor faster than light. And it's all imploding around us, and that's what's causing it to be. It's just greed, overwhelming greed. Like when the gas prices went $1 above what they were supposed to, and they were still within the 6 months period of the deal that had nothing to do with the Persian Gulf. That was just sheer fucking greed. Are these people greedy? Yeah, dude, they're world-class greedy. That's billionaireism. That's capitalism in a nutshell, and I know a lot of y'all scream about that. Oh, capitalism, it's the best thing in the world. We've been brainwashed since the 60s. It's the best thing. They get fucking emotional as hell. No, asshole, it's not. I'm sorry. Dumbass, jackass, whatever you want to go by. No, it's not. If you want to know what's good, it's probably socialism. Communism kind of sucks. They just take everything, and everything belongs to the elite, and the working class gets to support the elite. Capitalism, it's the same way. They just make you think that you're working your way up to something better. Okay, you can't become a billionaire. Unless you're a criminal, there's no hope. Unless you're just as diabolically a criminal as Trump, there is no hope. It just doesn't work that way, y'all. That it's inconceivably more money than what you're thinking is what I'm trying to get at. Nobody needs to be that rich. That's just stupid. That's just to the point of stupid. And then for people like Musk and all the rest of these clowns who want to be a trillionaire because it's the next thing. Okay, go home. Fucking stop. Seek mental help. There's professionals that can help you with your illness. But stop destroying the world. We only have a short amount of time, y'all. 5 years until this glacier calves. Maybe 10 to 15 before the AMOC reversal collapses the polar vortex. That's reality. Sorry, it's just real. All right, talk to you then, y'all. Bye.